so I could show them how my new farm. I just wanted to let you know. If you talk to Calypso people, if he's talking to Calypso, he's that's his niece fur baby. So he's Uncle Fatherly. Yep, Calypso. Yep, there you go. And I saw a picture of Calypso. She's absolutely gorgeous. She's really, really gorgeous looking, I think. Yeah. And they're just like babies. I don't care what people say. They're like little kids. You scold them and then they know when they're doing wrong. Yep. She's hilarious. Well, it's just like you remember when Alan, we played with, Pearl, right? And his little granddaughter would come up in the middle of us filming something or playing, and then he told her, that we were there, and he'd say hi, and then she'd say hi to us. That's so cute. I love that when kids do that. Now Alan's son has grown up, so yeah, I think he moved out of state, I believe, because Alan lives in Illinois. He chose the name Pearl High Life because it's Pearl. I think it's Pearl City. I think that he lives in. I'm not quite sure. I could be wrong. But anyway, but and then the high life. When like a high life is kind of like what you do with your spare time. It's the high life of your you know. So that's how he got he lives in Pearl and High Life. So Pearl High Life, that's where he got his gamer name. I thought that's pretty cool. Yeah. And Mystic, I didn't ask to have Mystic as my gamer tag, but like I said, I have roots, the ancestry I told you about. I had an ancestor that practiced hoodoo. It was over what they called in Africa, but voodoo here. So, you know, and so it's just something that, you can't change it. So you gotta, at least I know where a lot of my uh, um, ancestry came from. So, and of course, I feel bad that the ancestors had to be slaves and stuff like that, but at the time, that's what was going on. And I can't change it, and it's just part of history, and you can't, and there's still people today. Well, there's still people today that get enslaved, that 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 are, and look at there's child trafficking, all kinds of weird, unethical, horrible things that are still going on in different parts of the world. So it's not, you know, unfortunately, but doesn't mean that we all have to be like the others. We we can we be as good as we can possibly be and not condone things like that. So, it's all we can do because we don't run the world, so got to run our own lives. Take care of number one first. That's how I look at it. Well, number one, including your own family. Families should always take care of each other. Like your family's helping you, and family, that's what they do. And see, that's what I did with my mom. And if it wouldn't have been for me, she wouldn't have had a lot of stuff done, you know. So I did it for her because I didn't want her to go without. I wanted her to be around for as long as she could possibly be around. And she died when she was 84, so I got to see her for a few more years. My dad only lived to be 74 or 73. And so, um, I got to be, with my mom a lot longer than my dad. And so, that's why, and I felt obligated to do that. And like I told my mom and dad, I go, okay, look at it here. You raised me, and now it's my turn. After I graduated from high school, I started paying my mom and dad $20, $40 a month because I was still living at home. And I had a job, and I was giving them, I could only give them $40, but I gave them something. And, my dad helped me get a car when I was, like 16 or whatever. And I saved up money and I paid $50 for a car, a 283 Chevy 2 Nova. $50. But it was insured, and my dad said, I'll tell you what, he says, you pay for the plates and da-da, and I'll insure it. And then if you start getting more hours, then you can pay your own insurance. So that's what that, and I was fine with it because I got a car. So, it definitely is harder to see in the nighttime when you're plowing or when you're seeding. Yeah, you go when it gets daylight, you see all the areas you missed. Oh yeah, yep. But I figured, oh well, I'm on here. I'll at least get a couple things done. Like I said, I know that if I get a little hyper about something, you don't take it personally because you know that that's not really the real me. Yeah, yeah. So it just, I get, and that's why I take, I was honest with everybody. I told them, I said I haven't had my medicine, or I did take it, and it's just starting. It'll take effect after a bit or whatever. But at least I'm not lying about it. And if I've been wrong a lot about stuff, misinterpreting stuff like anybody else can be. And if someone can prove to me that I did something or I said something that they don't think I should have, then I will apologize. So, and otherwise, sometimes I think you remember me doing things such as like, if I got angry, I would leave the party. so I could cool off. And then when I was cooled down, then I usually got back in the party. So I just didn't want to, I didn't want to be that kind of person. Because I knew deep down I'm not that kind of person. It just that when you have a stroke, it does change you. And I used, well, you're not, like yeah, uh huh, yeah, yeah. And mine was bad. It was both sides of the brain. So yeah, and the fact that I was blind and I couldn't see, I could hear real good. Funny how when you lose your eyesight, the other senses take over, like your hearing. I could hear, oh yeah. And then when the day that my eyes started focusing on light and dark, that was exciting because I could actually see the difference. And then the funny part was when my eyesight started kind of getting really better, I saw two of each person. Double vision. So I'd go. So my friend Sharon, she came up to see me and a couple other. Well, I'll just use Sharon and her husband Attilio, and they come up and I go, "Hi, Sharon's," with an S. Both of you are here. I see you. And then her husband, "Hey, Attilio, I see both of you too." Well, you have to, you know. And then the day that my left leg moved before my right one, because the left side is the strongest side, and and it's the right side of the brain that made the left side strong, because it's always the opposite side of your brain as to what side is affected. So the left side controls the right, and the right side, yep. And I had the stroke worse on the left side of the brain. So that's why my ankle's paralyzed. So I can move it a little, but I have to have the brace on to stabilize my ankle, and I'm used to, used to having it on. But for a while, when it was summertime, I would sweat. My leg would sweat inside the brace. So I'd take my brace off, and I actually got used to walking around the house without my brace on. I actually could do that, but it's because I had carpeting, soft carpeting, and the kitchen, the linoleum was brand new. Because we bought our house brand new, and but now it's 40 years old and it looks like shit. So unfortunately, never takes care of nothing. You have to replace stuff when it goes bad. You just have to. That's just normal. That's it. That's what you're supposed to do. But unfortunately, some people just don't give a shit. Want to live like a hillbilly? Then you might as well live in a fucking shack. That's how I look at it. Yeah, exactly. There's a shed out back. He could go live out there. Yeah, a one room shack, and I get the whole. Exactly. Yep. There you go. Yep. Well, if I leave and then I drop the D word on him, the divorce word, then he has to split 50-50, whether he likes it or not. So, right, my main concern right now is being able to get enough money to get the hell out of Dodge and then get my own place, or or even share a place with another person, like, you know. But I it'd have to be somebody that I trusted. And this one friend of mine, she lives on her own. She said that if I could start, if I get free, or she said not if, when you get free, she said we could always be roomies for a while, and until you decide if you'd want to go out on your own or whatever. And she said we could, you could live with me. And I said, well, I'll consider it, but I don't know exactly, what I'm going to do for sure. Like if it's going to be by myself or, you know. Yeah, because we were best. She was one of my best friends in high school, and I've always kept in touch with her. So yeah, yeah, mm, yeah, exactly. Or I, or Yeah, or I can do the other way. I can move to where my daughter Becky lives, and they have senior apartments right in town where she lives. So that's another thing I could do. Yeah. So so I've got a couple of options so far. So like I said, I've been checking into living arrangements and what my rights are and what he'd have to uh, pay, which I can get up to 50% of his earnings, whether he likes it or not. Actually, say, actually, I could get 75. They said since I've been married to him for almost 50 years. So he better behave and or whatever, because when I'm gone, whatever I decide is what's going to happen, and he can't fight it unless he gets a lawyer. Yeah, yeah, because it just, and then, yeah, oh yeah, it's just getting out. Yeah, and you got, well, you guys have all heard it. You've heard it more than once. You guys know. And I've been talking, well, I got away for 15 years and then was forced to come back here. So I was gone 15. I was a lot happier too. Oh, I sometimes got mad at uh, my kids for uh, taking advantage sometimes, but they really didn't. Um, it was the one girlfriend that my daughter had that caused all those trouble. That would lie about what I said and make it look like everything was my fault when it wasn't. She literally lied all the time because she knew that I had a memory problem, and she used that to her advantage. I told Heather, I said, well, if you believe her over me, I said, that's just wrong. Uh, I said, I don't know how you could possibly think that I would do what she's saying. So, what can I say, you know? Yeah. Mhm. Exactly. Yep. Yeah, 'cause there are, like I said, there's two options I have. So, I'll just do whatever option whatever option I can do fairly quickly. Yeah, that's what I plan on doing. Mhm. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, exactly. All right. And, yeah, we got somebody watching, so hi there. Watch my colorful antics plowing, planting a field. I'm filling in. I'm filling in the spots I missed. 'Cause it's getting lighter out, so yep, yep, yep. Now I gotta check my phone. Yep, my daughter got it confirmed. I feel bad for her. That her daughter invited. She says I wasn't invited to my middle daughter's wedding, but Astrid's dad was, and his girlfriend. What the fuck? This is so heartbreaking. And I said, I know. It's I can't stand that at all. She says, "Are you going?" She should have been. That's the mother of the bride. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to go or not. I have no idea. I I don't know. I just can't believe it. I never thought that Raven would do that to her mom. I think that's just wrong. She doesn't have to deal with her mom, but it's cruel not to ask her to go to the wedding. I mean, you don't always get along with people all the time. You can not like what your mom has done or whatever, but come on, that's your mom. But you'll invite the guy that's not even your dad to the wedding and his girlfriend? Because Bridget was with him for like 6 years. They had Astrid together, and now David is her ex, but her mom still goes to my grandson Jude. Okay, they still go to his stuff, and they go to Astrid's stuff, of course, and they lent Bridget money to fix the basement, the water going into the basement, and then my daughter found out it was the water heater. It was a 1996 water heater that was leaking. Well, at least that got fixed. But then they fired my daughter from her job, so there you go. There's another deal. Like you're going through bullshit. If my daughter wasn't doing Uber and DoorDash, she wouldn't have any income right now at all. She's doing what she has to do to get money coming in. Not everybody can do Uber, though. Not everybody can do DoorDash. I mean, some people don't like to do that, you know. But she's doing what she can. Yeah, but she's doing what she can to keep the house. She doesn't want to lose the house. So, and the money that David's parents loaned her, she paid them back. And I just think it's shitty if Brooke goes to the wedding. I don't know what I'll say. I just don't know. I don't know. She's not family, and she didn't even invite her her aunts. She never invited Heather. She never invited Becky. They never received nothing. And that's even wrong. That's just as wrong as not inviting her mom, because they are her family, her blood family. And the only thing they scolded her on is when she called her mom by the name Bridget instead of calling her mom. And that just like I said, Scott, my family's fucked up. My family is broken. It is. It's shattered. Everybody's going every which way. And I'm tired of it. And what's going to happen is that if it keeps on going, who knows? Maybe I'll get so upset I'll have another stroke. And then if that would happen or something, or I'd get so depressed that I needed to go into a private home, get away from it all and go to a place like Abbey Center or something where you can actually get away from your family or whatever it is. Kind of like being in a mental hospital, but it's not really a mental hospital. It's more like a halfway house kind of type place. And then you can get counseling and all kinds of stuff. But I mean, if something happens, I'm gonna fucking blame the people that deserve to get blamed. I'm gonna let my granddaughter have it, even though I love her. I'm gonna fucking tell her, you are part of the problem. And by doing what you just did, you fucked everything up. I know that stuff happened to you, but goddamn, okay, she was raped. Oh, hold on. I'm going to get out of the. Come on, I don't turn it off. Hold on. I'm going to get out of the live stream. I'm getting out of the live stream. Or wait, or did I even put it on? I think I had it turned on. Oh, I got it. I have it on. Okay.